next topic, shall we? How about Bert Kreischer, the machine? We haven't talked about Bert in a while. I've taken a lot of guff because I've said I don't hate Bert Kreischer.
On podcasts.
When you say that, I don't even hate his stand-up. And when you say that, people are like, "What? I can't trust anything you ever say again." It's like, no, I'm just not as angry as you are about him. I enjoy Bert Kreischer at times, less so over the years, probably because of things like this. Because he and Tom have gone out of their way to grow more and more out of touch. If it's a bit, I'm impressed to their commitment. Now, there's nothing here as bad as the timepiece video that we watched.
Oh my God.
That takes the cake so far. But this is Bert both growing out of touch with who I believe his audience is, and also possibly slightly exaggerating. Now, Bert has a history of doing things that could definitely be lies or exaggerations, but I think these stood out to me as a little different than some of the others. So this is him on Tom Papa's podcast. Tom Papa's been making headlines lately with Jeselnik, and now he's being featured on this show. What a run Tom Papa's had.
And I get called
almost gay.
You know what it is? I'm kind of like what's like a gay entertainer that like Timothy Chalamet. He's not gay.
I don't think so.
Right. But gay guys love him, right? So that's why I am to all
You're
right.
a gay icon. You're a straight gay icon.
I'm a straight gay icon. I have a pretty big, solid gay fan base.
You do?
Hardcore. Bears.
Oh, Bears.
Yeah, are we rolling?
Okay, that's where it piqued my interest because I was like, this is just how he talks.
Yeah, he doesn't even think this.
Off mic, he's just like, I'm kind of a gay icon, Tom. And Tom has to be like, oh, really?
And also, I just want to point out to Ray DeVito, if you're watching, do you notice how he assumed it was rolling? Did you see that?
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, Bert's not going to sue Tom Papa because he wasn't aware he was on.
Yeah.
But this is where Bert gets a little... Here's where I credit Bert, and why I always say I don't mind him is like, if he heard, not that he'll ever hear this, but something like this where people are criticizing these clips, he'll laugh at himself. Hopefully that's still true. I don't know if it gets, the more famous he gets, the less true maybe it gets. But I've always heard him, like, even Crack Amico, like, he's a little soft with that stuff, but he does admit, like, he's like, it hurts my feelings, so I don't love it.
Right.
Like, Crack is definitely in his head with some... I guess at Skankfest, Bert was audibly booing the Crack Amico's Two Bears, One Grave song. So I don't think he's cool with all of it. But, like, I think he, unlike Tom, can admit why that statement would come off as douchey.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I actually have a really gay fan base.
he can laugh at himself for sure, but he will get hurt.
Yeah, definitely. Which I relate to that.
I think everyone can.
Sure.
Bears. Keep that in.
Bears.
Dude, there's a dude who pulled over. I'm walking over by the
Okay, we are about to hear what has to be a lie. Especially based on the follow-up. So go back just a tick here. I want to drink it all in.
Core. Bears.
Oh, Bears.
Yeah, are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Good. Yeah, Bears. Keep that in.
Bears.
Dude, there's a dude who pulled over. I'm walking over by the bar we were at last night. I'm walking on the side street. I just got my glasses fixed.
Yeah.
And and this guy stops his car and he's like, "Yo, I know you, but I don't know you."
Stops his car.
And he,
Like people in Los Angeles. Did he say Los Angeles?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't recall if he said where.
Let's say Los Angeles, the second biggest city in the country.
Mm-hmm.
People are just stopping in the streets. Excuse me, sir. It seems impossible, but I'm willing to play along here. My mind's still open.
So, can I play devil's advocate for this story?
Sure.
So, you know the Be a Man guy?
Yeah.
I was walking through Andover with him, and someone legitimately stopped their car in the middle of the street. And
Okay, all right. And Bert's much more famous.
Much more famous.
Okay, I'll stay with you on that.
Goes, I get sent pictures of you all the time. You're very big in our community, and I know you're a comedian.
Hold on, Craig.
Now I'm
When-
kind of
when they-
losing them.
When they stopped the car, did they know who the Be a Man guy was?
Yes.
Well, that's weird. Because this gentleman has no fucking idea who Bert Kreischer is. But he's like, I just know your essence. I know you as a man. I know that body.
Don't know who you are. And I said, my name's Bert. And he goes, yes, you are. You are adorable. And I was like, thank you. And he goes, I am very big in the bear culture. And we send pictures of you all the time.
Oh my God.
And I was like, wow. And you know what's
What
so
a
crazy?
compliment.
You know what's even better? Is like now he gets to send me pictures of
Okay.
other comics.
How?
You know he. You know that. I don't know.
Exchanged phone numbers?
So I gotta say, I'm gonna play devil's advocate again.
Okay.
My cousin was in Miami, I think last year. He bought Bert a drink, and Bert went out of his way to give him like comp tickets to his show.
But did he give him his phone number?
It's not that surprising to me.
All right, maybe, but it just seems unlikely that a man stops him in the street and says, I don't know you, but we send pictures to each other of how hot you are.
And I will say the fact that this guy is a gay bear makes it more believable.
It fits. It does fit. I get it. But this guy's like, hey, I don't know you, but we all send we, the gays, all send pictures to each other going, look at this piece of ass. And may I have your phone number? And Bert, who he just goes, yeah, here. Text me whenever you want. So now this guy's texting buddies. Let's hear the rest of this.
And go, who is this guy? So the other day he sent me a picture of a guy in a hot tub. And he goes, he is gorgeous. Tell me you know him. I said, I do. He goes, what's his name? I said, Sean Patton.
It just feels like something that Bert made up as like a joke about Sean Patton.
Yeah. This
So
guy.
there's just a group that talks about like 3 or 4 comedians and just sends pictures and they're like, this guy's hot.
This guy in the chat, it's not a super chat, but he makes a great point that I'm going to read it. He
Sure.
said, flattery gets you everywhere with Bert.
Yeah, that's true. But this is why, so like to the people that are like, I hate that you like Bert Kreischer. I think like if he goes on Legion of Skanks and they brought up this clip or whatever, he would laugh along with them. I think I'm correct in that. And so that's really all you need in my book. You know what I mean? Like a little self-awareness. Whereas with Tom, when people brought up that rant on, was it United Airlines or Delta or whoever it was? To this day, I heard Tom just like a month or two ago still defending that, where he's like, oh, I just criticized a woman for not doing her job and everyone loses their minds on the internet. So it's like he doesn't see what's funny about that. I think Bert will at least pretend to see what's funny about it. And to me, that's all you need. Whereas like the guys we make fun of, Aaron Imholt, Stuttering John, Coach HP, these people do not get why they're funny.
Yeah. I will say, though, too, like Bert, I'm pretty sure has not really changed who he is this whole time. He's always kind of been like this. Where Tom.
Well, there's one clip
Yeah.
that I believe contradicts that we have. So
Is that
hold
the-
on to that and use that defense then.
All right. All right. This is networking.
Oh, this might be it. This is
The thing
where,
I'm best at,
Oh, were you talking? Sorry.
no, it's good. Let's just hear it.
and I'll even go one step further. I am great at introducing people.
Yeah.
I am really good at it. And for whatever reason, I very much enjoy it. It makes me thrive. And I love telling people who they're about to meet in front of them.
That's why you enjoy it, Bert. You want the glory of being like, I put these two. He's like, I can't figure out why.
You're about to meet Joe Rogan.
He wants the credit for being like, hey, Bert Kreischer introduced me to this person.
It's kind of like when when Kobe passed away. It was kind of, I was like, I got to call people and surprise them with this.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
I don't really, but okay.
This is Trinidad James. Trinidad James came out with the #1 song, and I love introducing Trinidad James to Stephen Wilson Jr. And I go, now, can I tell you about him? I'm so
Oh my God. There
You need to
are
change-
names all over the floor. I can't.
They're spilling out of his pocket.
You've made quite a mess here, Bert. Imagine me, Bert Kreischer, introducing Trinidad James to Stephen Wilson Jr. Can you picture it, Tom? And Tom has to sit there like, okay, that's cool.
If you're ever in Atlanta or Nashville, you need to call him.
Right.
I'm telling you this. You ready for what I'm doing?
Boy, how nice to. By the way, now Trinidad James is to answer a phone call from this guy. Hey, if you're ever in Atlanta, call him up. Hey, Trinidad's like, he's about to talk, and Bert's like, it's no problem. Don't worry about it.
I got this.
I'm doing you a favor.
I am bummed people trash Hollywood, and I think it's because we don't have the community the way you see in Austin or New York.
Okay, if I may, I would submit somewhat recent news. P. Diddy. I would say perhaps there's a community of people that are kind of despicable. Or if you want to go, let's take crimes out of it. Let's say Hollywood is probably criticized for doing things like the Imagine video that they did during the pandemic.
The worst video of all time.
Yes. It was so bad that it was the first thing that came to my mind when I heard this.
It will be there forever.
I was like, no, that's why people criticize Hollywood. It's because they're phony. They preach to you and do not practice as such. Yet Bert is like, why do we? I guess Bert is in. I just saw him on New Year's Eve. He was on the Netflix football broadcast. I guess he is entrenched in Hollywood at this point. I don't think of comics in that way for whatever reason. I think of comics as kind of outside that group, even the most successful. I think the ones that want to get into that group, now I'm starting to sound like Anthony Jeselnik. I think the ones that want to get into elite Hollywood, that's a weird place to be because it takes away from you being funny. Now you can't be as open talking about current events and pop culture and all that sort of shit because you're part of the in crowd. It's what happened to Howard Stern, where I remember listening to Jimmy Kimmel come on Howard. We may do a Why Are You Laughing About This very soon. But I remember Kimmel coming on Howard and going like, how great was the party I threw you, man? And the segment is just listing the people that were there. Like John Stamos was there. Jennifer Aniston was there. It's just like topping each other and like what name was there. And the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool that Howard is now getting that acceptance. And then it just became what his show was entirely about, which I would not find it to be a far stretch for Two Bears to just be a show that has Matthew McConaughey and Jimmy Kimmel, guess that they have had. But like just being that as opposed to having comics on, it seems like that's Bert and Tom's goal ultimately, based on this idea that you're about to hear, which is crazy to me that he doesn't see the potential pitfalls in this.
Said one Tuesday every month, I would like to rent out a Hollywood bar, new Hollywood bar every month. And I want to invite everyone from your agency. I want you to bring all your clients. I want to bring all the comics, everyone that we know that's in town. And I want to fill it up with everyone and have just
that would be great.
one Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
Get a bunch of baby oil, you know?
Get it from Costco, but they find out they don't sell it.
It's been done before, Bert. It's happened. And it has not worked out well for people. I like that this is the year Bert's he's like, it seems like there's a massive hole to be filled here. Why isn't Hollywood networking as much as they used to? Ellen left the country, Bert.
Mansion immediately flooded.
Everyone comes to the Polo Lounge.
Yeah.
And I'll rent it out. I'll pay for all the drinks.
Wow.
But just networking is so important.
What a colossal waste of money.
Why does he need to network?
Exactly, right. Why does he need to network? To get more stage time?
Yeah. I mean, he's literally like one of the biggest ones we saw. We didn't go over it, but that top 10 money made this year list.
Oh, made 35 million or something like that?
At least.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Nate Bargatze was 80 million.
Which is crazy. Good for him.
That's not, and he'll do probably more this year. That's crazy.
Probably. I actually really liked his latest special.
It was very good. Yeah, it would have been probably top 5 of the
For
year
sure.
me.
I thought it was better than Jeselnik.
And it was better than his last couple.
Yeah, they were kind of bland. This one was
Yeah.
terrific.
This one was very good. And he has a joke. I saw Nate at Skankfest do a joke that he must still be working on. Because there's a great story that I thought was going to be the closer in this one, but probably the next one. But yeah, I like the idea that Bert has to be the guy. He thinks he's going to be Sinatra. You know, like he's going to run the next Rat Pack.
It was really difficult. I only toured until July.
Oh, right.
And
I remember that.
yeah. And then in July, I decided I'm done for a while. So I've been off. And I had a really hard time. You know how our brains, I don't think enough people understand the way our brains work.
Oh, I hate, and thank God Stavros corrected him when he did this. But Bert is a guy that constantly refers to us, us peasants, as civilians.
Yeah.
Here's what civilians don't understand. And I remember Stavros was like, don't do that.
Only the military can say that.
Civilians. But yeah, this is him. He's like, listen, I do a whole show about dissecting the history of comedy, and I put it on a pedestal because I believe it is as important as the other art forms, and it's more disrespected, and I don't think it should be. So I raise up comedy, but still to say, like, you know, these underlings don't understand how our brains work. It's like, no, you were a frat guy that takes his shirt off on stage and you talk about your family, and you've been very successful doing that. I can get inside the mind of how that works. Like when I hear Bert Kreischer tell a joke about opening what he thinks is a Diet Coke and it turns out it's a Coors Light at a parent-teacher conference, I'm not like, how does that mind, how does he function? Like there are brains like that in like Norm Macdonald would be one, I would say. Louis C.K. is probably good, where you're like, God, like how that mind works is fascinating.
Right.
But for Bert to be like, you can't get inside, it's a steel trap in here, you can't break through.
Like how Seinfeld's like, what's the deal with airplane peanuts? And we're like, how does he do it?
What a mind.
It's like, it's always, for me, it's always stories. It's always telling a tale or looking for an ending or looking for a joke to put in a thing or seeing something odd that I go, magic trick from Mennonites or whatever, you know, like something.
Always
off.
gathering. Yeah.
When you're not getting ready for an hour or you're not preparing, your brain is sitting rudderless with just bad thoughts.
Right.
And so I had a hard time transitioning my brain into not like I don't really look at comments, but like sometimes I'll catch a comment on.
Oh, hold on! Get ready for the biggest lie. You know, this is great, but I do like Tom being like, you know, you pedestrians wouldn't understand what it's like to observe things. You wouldn't understand what it's like to look at something and think like, what if that was different?
Right.
That's impossible for anyone other than a comic. And again, there's no bigger comedy fan than me, and there's no one that respects it more than me. But still, you don't have to talk about it in this fashion like you people wouldn't get it. But now, listen, I've heard people say like Joe Rogan is lying when he says he doesn't look at the comments.
Right.
I don't believe that. I don't believe he's lying. I mean, I'm sure he sees more than he lets on, maybe. But like, I think if you're Joe Rogan, you don't have to look at the fucking comments. You know, he seems secure enough in himself that he doesn't give a fuck that people think his Netflix special is garbage.
Right.
Bert is a little more insecure, so I get why people are like, he lies when he says he doesn't look at the comments. But look at how Bert contorts himself into making it seem like he doesn't seek out the comments. Bert, if you just, and I've heard Bert admit, he's like, oh, the comments get to me, and I read them all. I've heard him say that before.
I have too.
That's a vulnerable, honest moment. Good for you. This is weird that all of a sudden he's doing this thing where he's like, I don't read the comments, but sometimes they get in my way.
A button and go, well, I didn't need to see that. Or I'll like I Googled one thing. I'm not gonna tell you what I Googled, but it was so bad. I'll tell you what I Googled because it was like so innocent.
Okay.
So innocent.
Okay.
He's getting processed in his brain live.
This is him. You want to talk about someone doing Mark Normand? This is him praying a pun or play on words comes in here so he can think of what he would be Googling.
Yeah. Because
listen to the correlation he makes. This is what he claims he was Googling. Bert, just say you were looking at the comments. Not that big a deal.
What?
And I'm sharing this, so don't be a dick. I'm just sharing. I wanted a picture of me lying down.
Okay.
And so I was like, there's got to be one on the internet. So I Googled Bert Kreischer lying. was like, and I was like, yeah, it's good.
So I googled Bert Kreischer lying, and I assumed it would be a picture of me on a bearskin rug.
Oh my god. The results that must garner are probably crazy.
I googled Bert Kreischer lying, and wouldn't you know, Tom, it wasn't me in bed for some reason. They didn't sneak into my home and find out when I'm laying on my couch watching football. Wouldn't it be Bert Kreischer laying?
Yes.
It wouldn't be Bert Kreischer lying.
You are 100% correct with that. Yes.
So I Google Bert Kreischer lying. That would be like Alec Baldwin saying, I was curious about all the films that I've done and all the shooting dates, so I merely Googled Alec Baldwin shooting.
You won't
And
believe
much to my chagrin, there were some nasty comments.
Someone just Googled it and said there's 4,000 results.
Well, but Bert knows. This is where Bert's being disingenuous, and this is why this clip stood out to me. Because like I said, Bert's never bothered me because I think he can laugh at himself. This clip is completely disingenuous because I've heard him talk before about how people think he's lying about stories. And he's even said, like, I create my own stories because I know it's funnier. Like, he's talked about, like, his wife telling a story of his, and he's like, she doesn't get, like, I exaggerate for comedy. That's what makes me a good storyteller. I've heard him say shit like that. So, at the very least, if you are looking for a picture of you laying down and you thought Bert Kreischer lying would be the best Google search, you at least know that some other videos might come up. Like I said, he booed Crack Amico, who wrote a song about it. If you Google Bert Kreischer lying, Crack Amico is probably one of the guys that comes up.
Probably.
It's too lazy to try, podcast cringe, and Crack Amico, I'm guessing.
In that picture he posted with his daughter's last day of school, probably.
Right. But, like, again, Bert, just say you were interested. Like, that's if you were like, I know a lot of people talk about me lying, so like guilty pleasure, I just checked it real quick. Don't do this where you're like, so I Googled Bert Kreischer lying, thinking what would come up? There's got to be a picture of me lying down. Why?
Yeah.
Why does there have to be that? He thought like the Timeless Art of Seduction photo would come up with his face on it or something.
It probably exists. He probably did that.
Oh, that does. He would suit that well, I think.
Yeah. Here we have The Birth of the Machine.
Okay, so this is again like, I don't think he's being. Bert forgets how much he's talked about things, I think, because I don't think this lines up with the trajectory of Bert's career.
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you even better one. I went to the Ryman, me, Nate Bargatze, and Ari Shafir. None of us could sell a club at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing the Nashville Comedy Festival. I think each of us had a night at Zany's.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Angela Johnson at the Ryman. And she told the nail salon bit, and they went bananas.
Yeah.
And in the Ryman, I said to the Lord, I said, God, I didn't know what I was asking for. I said, give me one story that's this popular, and I'll tell it with a fucking shit-eating grin on my face.
You said
This is not true.
It's
just not
It really isn't.
That's just not what happened. I said God, and God spoke to me and gave me a story from 15 years earlier. Like, he told that story on Rogan. He had told it on stage a bunch. I guess he didn't give a specific date of when this would be.
Yeah,
But, like, I think Bert was telling the machine story for a long time.
I think so. Quite some time. Maybe he was tightening it up recently.
Was that the end of that clip?
No.
Let me hear the rest.
Ryman.
Shit-eating grin?
A year later, I'm in the Ryman, 2 shows going, when I was 22 years old, I got involved with the Russian mafia.
That's what I mean. There's no way Bert started telling that story when he got into theaters.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
No, he's doing that in clubs when he was first on Rogan.
Of course. Yeah. I remember Rogan telling him you should tell that on stage.
Correct. That's where it started.
So yeah, I don't. Bert might just be podcasting too much, where it's like I don't like nitpicking that stuff. Where I'm like, he technically contradicts, but it's just funny. like when you're known for some of these stories to try and twist them as the years go on.
Really?
But I look at things as inspiring. I don't ever.
No, exactly.
I get so pumped.
Well, you're all
Okay.
I get so pumped.
Yeah.
I get pumped to inspire people and introduce people. Those are my two things.
Those are the things I get pumped on.
Yeah. So again, like, I don't mind Bert. And then even people will be like, oh, still you'll like him? I don't have a problem with that. I think it's funny. You know, that's where I think people like on Reddit and shit get crazy, where it's like, we need to expose this man. It's like, no, me calling him a liar doesn't change anything. It's just funny. It's funny to laugh at. You know?
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Kragers did it.